Hey, welcome. So tonight we're going to be we're going to be having an in-depth look on into down payment assistance programs. We're going to go into the pros of using a down payment assistance program and the potential cons of going into down payment assistance programs. So the first thing is down payment assistance programs are synonymously talked about the same as first time home buyers programs. In actuality, they're potentially two different things. A first time home buyers program is a program specifically for someone who is categorized as a first time home buyer. Now, what a first time home buyer is considered in most states, not all, but most states, is someone who has not had owner interest in a property in the last 3 years. Not that you have not purchased a property in 3 years, but if you have not had owner interest in a property in the last 3 years. So I will give you an example of what that means. If you purchased a property and sold it, and you sold the property back in 2021 prior to um, February the 4th of 2021, you're now 3 years from when you own property. So you in most states you can be categorized as a first time home buyer because you no longer own the property, you sold it, and you don't have an owner interest in it and haven't had an owner interest in the last 3 years. Something that people ask me is, well, what if I own land? Um, Owning land in the last 3 years does not exclude you from being a first time home buyer. Owning a mobile home that's in a park does not exclude you from being a first time home buyer. Inheriting property and your name being put on a deed or title does, in most instances, consider you not a first-time home buyer because you have had owner interest in a property in the last 3 years. All right, so that's what's considered a first-time home buyer. Most of the time, first-time home buyers who participate in down first-time home buyers programs and down payment assistance programs are typically given by municipalities, some type of bond program, and some type of grant program. And we're also going to break down the difference between all of those things, right? Because a down payment assistance program, a bond program, and a grant program, while they're all intertwined with the same and they effectively do some of the same things, they're very different. They're very different, and you have to be very specific in what you're looking for when you're looking to participate in a program to help you buy a house. Because if not, and you ask for the wrong thing, or your lender provides you with the wrong thing, you may not be getting what you're looking for. So down payment assistance is when a program participates in paying a down payment for you. Most of the time, the down payment is covered on FHA. If your down payment is 3.5%, they're going to cover the 3.5%. In some instances, there may be a down payment assistance program that participates in conventional. Sometimes it participates in VA, which is not a down payment assistance program. However, it will help pay the closing costs because in most VA loans, you don't have a down payment assistance, right? A down payment amount. The same thing with USDA. So if you're looking at programs that are looking to assist you, you need to make sure that the type of loan that you have participates with, whether it's a down payment assistance program, a grant, a bond, or first time home buyers program. If you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button. And if you're enjoying this video so far, hit the thumbs up. So there are down payment assistance programs that are national down payment assistance programs. Those programs typically are like a second loan, right? Which means if you're purchasing a home for $300,000 using FHA financing and they're paying 3.5%, that is going to be a $10,500 down payment requirement. If you're using a down payment assistance program, they're going to 9 times out of 10, if it is forgivable, if the down payment assistance is forgivable, there's going to be a higher interest rate and something called higher discount points charged for that program, right? If you do a repayable, you're still going to have a higher than market interest rate. However, the amount to get that, which the discount points isn't as high, but you have a second mortgage. Most of the time, the second mortgage is the $10,500 that they've given you, and you pay back on that within a 10-year period of time. I have seen there be interest only on those seconds. I have seen where it's amortized, which means as you pay down on that $10,000, 500 for this example, that you are paying it down, and then after 10 years, it goes to a zero balance. Most of the time, with the down payment assistance programs, there are time frames that you have to stay in it. I explain to clients that when you're looking for down payment assistance, there's technically no free money. Like there's some attachment to it. Even the best down payment assistance programs out there have an attachment to it, meaning it has a higher interest rate. There's a time frame that you're allotted that you have to stay in the property. I've seen anywhere short as 3 years. I've seen as high as 10 years. And what does that mean? That means that if you refinance or sell that property that you purchased using that program, within that allotted period of time, you have to pay back the funds. Typically, you have to pay it all back. So if they gave you $10,500 and the agreement was that you have to stay in the house for 5 years, if you refinance to get a lower rate, when you refinance, that $10,500 is given back. That's why it goes down as a second lien and a second mortgage. So you have to pay that back. If it is a 3-year period of time, you have to pay it back. If you go and sell that house within that period of time, you have to pay it back. From my understanding, the reason why that they do that is because they don't want people to continue to use down payment assistance programs to continue to buy houses. And they also want to make sure that they're investing in someone who is looking to stay put in a particular situation for an extended period of time. The other thing is a way for them to make money. If they hold on to your loan between 5 and 10 years, they make a majority of their money, if not all of it back. They stand to make a greater profit off of you because in the first 10 years of owning a home, majority of your monthly mortgage payment, the principal and interest portion, most of that goes towards the interest. So that's how they're able to give some of that money. And that's one reason, one of their motivating factors to have a higher interest rate. One, because they're taking a little bit more risk and being in second position, but also so they can make a greater amount of money off of that 10-year period or 3-year period or 5-year period that you have the house in order for them to be profitable. Now, a lot of people believe that the down payment assistance program is free. You don't have to pay it back. Let me see. A lot of people think that it's free, that you don't have to pay it back. And in essence, you do majority of the time have to pay it back if it is a down payment assistance program. If you're looking into a grant program, then typically with a grant program, there are a few nationwide that are legitimate grants. And what happens is a grant is given to you and you don't have to pay it back. Typically what comes with that is specifically for a specific box that you have to be able to fit in. Most grants come from municipalities, they come from cities, they come from states. I'm not sure. Most grants come from cities, they come from states, they could potentially come from the county. and they just want to make sure that they're providing funds to you. However, most of those programs have where you have fit into an income guideline. You have to live into a specific city in order to make it. And a lot of times they take a look at you have to have a specific credit score. Uh, and then also most of the time they look at household income. So if it's just one person on that loan to apply for the mortgage, however, they want to make sure that they are looking at the entire household income. So that's one of the downsides to using a grant program with one of the cities or counties, or any type of municipality that's going to give you funds for down payment or grant, right? A bond program is where you don't necessarily have to pay that back with monthly payments. However, it goes in second lien position, which means it's a second mortgage. Example, in Georgia, there's a program called Georgia Dream. Georgia Dream is a bond program, right? Georgia Dream is a second lien that you have against your property. You don't have to pay anything on it. It's interest only. However, if you sell, you have to pay back the bond program. If you refinance, you have to pay it back. And if you do anything with it, you have to pay it back. So the only time it's forgiven is if you stay the term of your loan, which is typically in most of those cases a 30-year fixed loan. So that's a bond program. The benefit to using any of those programs is that you may be in a position where you don't have the ability to bring any funds to closing. Like there are times where you legitimately need assistance, and if you qualify for it, you most definitely should go ahead and use it. However, there are times when down payment assistance doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because the discount points could be high enough where it gets charged to you, and it may, depending on the price point of the house, may be equivalent to bringing your own down payment. So there's a lot of different factors that you need to look into down payment assistance program. Is there anything wrong with using down payment assistance programs? No, not at all. I do them pretty frequently. However, whenever I do a down payment assistance program, I let the client know this is what it looks like if you use this program. This is what it looks like if you go FHA, if you have the ability to go conventional, if you go VA, if you go USDA. Giving them a total picture of what they're looking for, it definitely aids them. What I've come to find is everybody wants to know, do I qualify for anything? If I do, even though I have my own money, allow for me to decide whether I want to go with down payment assistance or not. A lot of times you'll come across a lender who does not offer the down payment assistance to you or tries to talk you out of it. And that's because in some cases it doesn't make sense, but it's not explained to you why it doesn't make sense. I would rather have you take a look at it and weigh your own options so that you can't say, oh, I was never provided with the option to use a down payment assistance program. I also, in consulting with you, I want to make sure that you have an understanding of what your options are. And then I want to make sure I understand what are your motivating factors. Are you short money? So do you legitimately need down payment assistance? Is payment a motivating factor? We already know off the bat that the down payment assistance program is typically going to have a higher interest rate. And with the higher interest rate, that makes your monthly mortgage payment higher. And depending on what down payment assistance program you use, typically dictates what the rate is. So there's programs where if it's a minimum requirement to have a 600 credit score, and I have a 600 credit score and you have a 700 credit score, we're both going to get the same interest rate. You may pay a little less in discount points. However, when it comes to at the end, us both getting the same interest rate based off of the program that we're using. A lot of people say, so why do we have to go with their interest rate? Because you're using someone else's money. If you're using someone else's money, you don't have the ability to dictate what they can or can't charge. Um, so, I've had situations where clients have used down payment assistance or wanted down payment assistance. They started out the loan with down payment assistance, and then we figured out a way to maneuver around the down payment assistance. And it gives you more freedom, right? If you're locked into a property 3 to 10 years, and the average person lives in their home between 5 to 7. But in this case, with the market that we're in, and interest rates are higher, but they're also dropping at the same time, you want to have the ability to refinance without what you would call a penalty. I have had clients who use the down payment assistance program, and then they've had it as a second, and they paid it off. They paid off the down payment assistance program, so they no longer were stuck into that, being tied in. And when interest rates drop to where it makes sense for them to refinance, they have the ability to refinance into a different program. Hey guys, if you are new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you're not new to the channel and you're watching and you definitely are enjoying this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions about, right now I'm answering questions specific to down payment assistance programs. Any questions you have about down payment assistance programs, how do I know if I qualify for down payment assistance programs? If you have any of those type of questions, definitely drop them in the chat below. Later on in the live, I will answer questions specific to home ownership. But if you have any questions about down payment assistance programs, drop them in the chat, and we'll definitely do our best to get it answered. So one of the biggest questions that I get for down payment assistance programs, one of the biggest questions I have for the down payment assistance program is, I make X amount of dollars. I'm typically over the limit for down payment assistance. Is there an income limit? There are national down payment assistance programs who do not look at income. Let me be specific. They don't have an income max, meaning if you make $200,000, you could participate in the down payment assistance program. If you make $150,000 and you're looking to do a bond program, you're over income. And a lot of those down payment assistance programs that you're looking to participate in, that give the better terms and rates and give the most money, they typically pigeonhole you because they don't want you to make over a certain amount of money. They don't want you to have a ton of assets or any type of assets. It's really for someone that if they fit in that square box, they can qualify for the program. So that there are national down payment assistance programs where people make great money. They're just in a position where they don't have the down payment, or they don't want to use it, and want to see if they qualify. And if they do, they take advantage of it. The higher interest rates is typically what drives people's decision. In any deal, really, when you're looking at purchasing a home, the biggest determining factor for people, whether they go with a specific lender or if they go with a specific program, a down payment assistance program, is, do they have, what is my interest rate? That's the biggest question. What is my interest rate? And that affects, it has an effect on how much you pay on a monthly basis. But if you are, what I would say is, take the higher rate and get the house now, and then make sure you put yourself or keep yourself in position to be able to refinance later on down the road. Because you own a home and you were able to purchase it does not necessarily mean you have the ability to refinance at any given time, you still have to be in position. That's why it's called refinance, because you're financing it all over again. So if you know that you use your maximum debt to income ratio when you purchased a home, and you went out and you purchased a car or ran credit card bills up or took on some other kind of personal loan, you may not or may no longer be in position to purchase to refinance your home if you were looking to refinance your home. Um, a lot of people want to know, well, why do I have to do this specific down payment assistance program? There's a ton of down payment assistance programs out there now. There's a vast majority of them that have become very lenient. But in all actuality, a lot of the down payment assistance programs that are not offered by the city, county, or the state are essentially second home loans. That's essentially what it is. They're going to loan you your down payment, and if you stay in this house for this allotted amount of time, we can forgive it. And then there's ones that say, hey, we'll give you this money that allows for you to come up with your down payment. However, you're going to pay us back over the course of a 10-year period of time. And the interest rate on that second mortgage is higher than the first. There's a couple of them where the mortgage, yeah, I mean, the second mortgage, that down payment assistance is 2% higher than what you pay on the first. So example, let's say you have a down payment assistance program that's paying you $10,500, right? And on the first mortgage, the interest rate on that first mortgage is 7.75. Then when you're paying on the second, the interest rate is going to be 9.75. Yes, that's a higher rate, but it's also, it also still allows for you to get into the house. So you kind of got to weigh your options. I typically tell people the best way to get in for the least amount of money and without the most strings attached is if you're able to come up with your down payment and closing costs. However, you still weigh that option out as well. Well, how long will it take me to save $10,500? Because not only do you have the down payment, you have to make sure you can come up with the closing costs. In those scenarios, coming up with the closing costs, is sometimes equivalent to the down payment. It just depends on where you live at. So you're looking, you could be on $300,000 house in perspective, right? You could be looking at bringing about $22,000 for down payment and closing costs combined together. Now, in those situations, you could potentially get some help from the seller, but it's not necessarily guaranteed that the seller has to give you anything for closing costs. On an FHA loan, a seller has the ability to give you up to 6% for your closing costs. On VA, the running number is 4%. In some cases, the seller can pay other things, and that equates to a higher closing cost assistance than the 4%. On a conventional loan, if you put down less than 10%, the seller can only contribute up to 3%. And if you put 10% or higher, the seller can contribute up to 6%. On a USDA loan, the seller can also contribute up to 6% of the sales price, but it just depends. Now, the caveat to that is, depending on your credit score, you may not qualify for down payment assistance if you don't have any money. I'm going to expound on that. Whenever there is money coming from a different source outside of yourself, it is looked at as another level of risk. What do I mean by that? If you're getting down payment assistance from a program and they're bringing, let's say, the 3.5% for FHA financing, and you also have seller's assistance, when we run it through desktop underwriting, it may not give an approval, because what they're saying is, hey, yes, they have the score to qualify for this program. Yes, they are an approved HUD, a down payment assistance program, but this person isn't bringing any funds of their own to the closing, and they're also marginal because of their credit score, and it may look at you as a risk. Well, why is that? Because they're backing the loan. HUD is going to back your FHA loan. The Department of Veteran Affairs is going to back your VA loan. United States Department of Agriculture is going to back your USDA loan. And they're saying if something were to happen, if a person doesn't have the credit score that warrants us saying, hey, we think this person is not a high risk factor, and your credit is marginal, but you qualify, and something happens where you need to walk away, it's easy for you to walk away when you don't have any money invested into it. That's where the level of risk comes from. So yes, sometimes you can qualify with down payment assistance program, but when you add in that other factor of getting a gift from a family member is another option, or getting seller's assistance when you don't have any money coming from your pocket, and then you don't have something called reserves, then that is a high risk of you getting approved using that, because you don't have any funds into the deal, and then most of the time it's because of the credit score and length of credit and different things like that. So I mentioned something called a gift. A gift is when a family member provides you a gift to help you purchase a home. So let's say in this instance, you have a down payment assistance program that pays the 3.5% for the down payment, but you need help with closing costs. If your parents gift you the $10,000 for closing costs, and you're getting paid, you're getting a down payment assistance program, you don't have any money into the deal. What that gift is, that will take care of the closing costs. And what happens is your parents have to we provide a letter as a lender. Your parents have to sign off on it and say what their relationship is, what their bank account is, bank account number, what bank they bank with, how much they're giving you. They sign off on it, you sign off on it, and then your parents provide a most recent statement, whether it's a retirement statement or a bank statement, showing that they have the funds to give to you. We provide that to the underwriter. The underwriter takes a look at it and they approve it. And once it's been approved, the simplest way, and I always tell clients, do not take the gift, have your parents wire it directly to the attorney's office at the time that it's needed. That way there's less paperwork we have to go through. There's less paperwork that we have to go through. The other thing is making sure that you have what you need. So in some of the instances on the down payment assistance programs, you have to take some type of home buyers course. A lot of places offer housing counseling. There's housing counseling, housing counselors and programs nationwide. There's each city and county sometimes offer it. They're typically nonprofit organizations who offer you housing counseling, where it's a program where you go through, sometimes it's a budget, and then sometimes it's typically just going through hearing from a realtor, an attorney's office, a home inspector for a period of time. Those classes used to be 8 hours. I think they've streamlined a lot of them now, and they're a little less than 8 hours. Back in the day, they used to all be in person. Of course, with things changing, they're now where you have the ability to go online and do it. So there, that's one determining factor that could potentially help you. And then you're getting educated, right? You have to pay to play with the down payment assistance programs. Like, I think there's a huge misconception of there's free money, it's mine, I should get it, I should be able to dictate what my interest rate is, how much I can get, and if I pay it back. And that's just not it. That's not the world we live in. Back in the day, before housing prices went up, there were some programs that if there was money left over from the down payment, that you could put the rest towards closing costs. However, because of housing prices being elevated in most areas, that money covers the down payment and the down payment only. You also want to make sure you understand that you cannot leave before that allotted period of time. I always get the question, well, Kevin, how? So I went to a down payment assistance program where we had to register. And I asked them, same question. How do you know if the person still is in the house? And oftentimes they do checkup calls and they also send mail. So this particular down payment assistance program said they sent a piece of mail to one of their clients and it got forwarded to a different address. And when it got forwarded to a different address, that drew a red flag and they were able to call. And in the paperwork, you'll have to sign that you're going to stay in that property. They were able to call due that portion of the loan. So the person had to pay back the $15,000 that they received for the down payment assistance program. So you want to be on the up and up with these programs because they check in. There's some programs that do counseling with you for a year. There's programs that do follow-ups with you the entire time. And then the other thing is most of the time on the down payment assistance program, your payment is going to whoever gave you the down payment. So if they are sending the statement to one address and then all of a sudden it's going somewhere else, that's going to draw a red flag to them as well. Now, when you're participating in the bond programs, they have the ability to call those loans due as well. So you want to be very, very careful when you decide to use the down payment assistance program because not saying you lose your freedom, but there's certain things you just can't do. And if you get caught doing it, they have the right to call the loan due because you didn't adhere to the guidelines that they had in place for you. Hey guys, we're going to do a reset. If you are new to the channel, do me a huge favor, give me a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button. Below in the description, you will see a link to a list of down payment assistance programs throughout the United States. There's going to be a list with a link. All you have to do is click on the link. We're going to ask for your name. We're going to ask for your email address so you can end up on our email list, and then you'll have a list of down payment assistance programs that are in your area. That is not the entire comprehensive list. However, it is a very, very resourceful list that gives you an idea that if you can participate in the down payment assistance that's in your area, or if you're looking to go to a different location, that you can potentially participate in the down payment assistance program there. This is my first time going live on Instagram. So if you have any questions for me on Instagram, drop them and I'll take a look at it. If you're looking at Instagram and you're having an issue with Instagram, you can hop onto my YouTube channel. I'm also going live on Facebook. So I'm fancy tonight. I got 3 different things going. So if you see my head moving, I'm making sure I'm taking care of all of my audiences. We've got a comment from Wanda. She says she ended up going with a grant program. That's awesome. Another big question that I get for down payment assistance programs are, can you buy investment properties with down payment assistance? And the answer is no. The down payment assistance programs are specifically for people who are looking to purchase as a primary residence. Now, I'm going to answer this question. There are some programs that allow for you to buy multifamily, but that's not an investment property because you're going to live in one. You're going to live in a unit, so that's your primary residence. It could be 1 to 4 families. You live in one unit and rent out the other 1, 2, or 3 units. That is not an investment property. That is a primary residence that fits within the guidelines of FHA and conventional financing that you're utilizing. That's okay. But if you're looking to buy a 4 unit and you're not going to live in it, they won't allow for you to participate in the down payment assistance program. It has to specifically be for you to live in. FHA allows for you to buy a 1 to 4 family. VA allows for you to buy a 1 to 4 family. Conventional financing allows you to buy a 1 to 4 family as long as you live in it. USDA does not. They're for single family only. Some of the down payment assistance programs, and I just ran into this, will allow for you to buy a manufactured home that's on its own land. The title has been retired and it has been deeded, so now it's considered a single family home. I have a question. Can you use down payment assistance plus your own funds to have a bigger down payment? That's an excellent question. Yes, you can. Um, you can use your own down payment. You can use some of your own funds as down payment, as well as using the down payment assistance program in order to, sometimes it's used to qualify in general, sometimes it's to qualify for more, but in any instance, you can use your own funds. With down payment assistance programs, you can use your own funds, you can use gift funds, you can use funds from the seller. Um, Another question I get is, can I stack down payment assistance programs? Meaning, can I utilize 2 different down payment assistance programs? In some cases you can, in some you can't. I will tell you that doing that, there's not a lot of loan officers who will do it because it adds a different level of risk, because each down payment assistance program has different rules and guidelines that they adhere to. But at any time, you can use multiple sources of funds like down payment, 401k, your own money that you have saved, a gift from a family member, as well as the seller gifting you funds. And in some cases, if you can get an approval running it that way, you potentially can use your own funds, the down payment, a gift from your parents, and the seller if that's what it takes to close on the deal. However, remember, like I said earlier in the conversation, that creates a different layer of risk each time. And if you don't have the score, you may not get an approval. I did mention earlier, and I skipped it, I'm sorry. When I say that you sometimes need reserves, that means you need to have the equivalent of your monthly mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So let's say on the house, your monthly mortgage payment is $2,000. If the loan approval requires you to have 2 months of reserves, that means you have to have 2 months of your monthly mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and mortgage insurance. So that means after your down payment is taken care of, your closing costs is provided or taken care of, you still need to have $4,000 available to show that if something were to happen in these first 2 months, or in general, I have at least 2 months of reserves that I can pay my mortgage payment. Sometimes that's the kicker to go help you with your be able to qualify for the loan. Because if you have a lower credit score and you're using down payment assistance, which gives you a risk, you're using closing costs from the seller or gift from a family who's giving you, who is another level of risk, but you have money left over, sometimes that's the thing that can get you over a hump. What can you use as reserves? You can use your 403b, you can use your 401k, you can use your IRA, you can use money that you have in some type of savings. So there's a lot of ways that you can come up with funds to show as reserves, and you don't have to bring it to the table. You don't have to bring it to closing. You don't give it to the lender. You don't give it to the attorney's office. You're just showing, hey, after all is said and done and all of this money is paid out, I still have some left over, which shows that you're a good steward and a good saver with your money. So that was I guess that's BI. That's a great question. Trying to see if I have any questions on Instagram. Don't have any questions right now on IG. Don't see any on Facebook. Again, guys, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe notification so you know when we're going live. If you have any questions pertaining to down payment assistance programs that you're unsure of, drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them if I have an answer. Also, if you're watching the replay and you weren't able to see it actually live and you have questions, uh, drop a comment in the chat. Drop a comment below, and I come back and my team and I check to see what questions we need to answer pertaining to the topic. Again, guys, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified when I go live. If you would like to become part of our community, we have a Facebook community that's starting to grow rapidly, and we're taking on new members, and so we can have a community. We post in a Facebook group 5 days a week, sometimes six. Sometimes it's our wins that have occurred throughout the week. Facebook trivia, knowledge, motivation, and if you're interested in becoming a part of the Facebook group, the link will be below also. Hey, if you're watching the live and you say, hey, Kevin, I would love an opportunity to see how I can qualify, what I qualify for, or how I need to get ready, my contact information will be below. There will be a Calendly link below where you can click on it and you can set up an appointment with me. It goes directly to my calendar. It goes directly to your calendar for that allotted time slot that's available. We jump on a Zoom call and we discuss, so you can see that I'm a real person. I'm not AI generated, that we can discuss your situation before even applying or going to an application. If we both feel like it's a good fit, or if it's something that you want to move forward with, then I will provide you a link to my online application, a list of documents that are required for you to apply, and my team and I will take a look and see what programs you qualify for, and then we will do a second Zoom call to show you what you qualify for or don't qualify for. So in most instances, I give a game plan on, if you don't qualify, what you can do to get yourself in position to qualify. And I feel that you looking at the screen at your situation, which you may not have seen, allows for you to understand what I'm talking about as we go along. Again, my contact information will be below, so that if you have any questions pertaining to housing, any questions that you want to be very specific on and you don't want to answer or don't want asked on live, it's a call between you and I. It's about a 30-minute call time slot that I have available, and you can ask any questions pertaining to the process. So definitely take advantage of that. If you are under contract and you want a second look at what was given to you, by all means, schedule a call. Those calls are typically about 15 minutes. My email's below, my phone number, and my Calendly link is below for you to get in contact with me. Also, I have the ability to help people in 50 states plus DC. So I have the ability to help you in all 50 states and DC. And again, if you're looking to figure out if there's any down payment assistance programs in your area, the link will be below. Click on that link. That's a very comprehensive list. Even if you don't want to know about the down payment assistance program, click on the link so you can share it with one of your family members to see what programs are available in your area, we can do to help you. Those are not all of the programs. It's a good comprehensive list of what is available. Most of those programs are state specific, county specific, city specific. And then I have a list of national down payment assistance programs that work in most states. I have a few that work in all 50, some that work in 46, some work in 48, just all depends. Anywhere from Alaska, Hawaii, to New York, to Maine, to Florida, to Texas, New Mexico, the Dakotas. We have a comprehensive list of programs that are available to you. Again, if you have any questions pertaining to down payment assistance, this would be a good time for you to ask them. Trying to think of any other questions that I typically get with, for the down payment assistance programs. So you also, oh, I got a good one. So with the down payment assistance programs, most of them are prepayment penalty free, meaning if you want to pay them off ahead of time, you can. If you wanted to go for the life of the loan, you definitely can, right? It's ultimately up to you. And I would make sure that whoever you go with and you're looking into the down payment assistance program, you want to make sure that you're being given um, an opportunity to see what it looks like if you qualify for one, and what that looks like for payment, and then whatever other program you're looking to get for those, for those down payment assistance programs. You do want to make sure that you understand that because you qualify for it, one way doesn't mean that you qualify for another. Meaning, as you add less and less money that is coming from you, when less and less money is coming from you, it creates more risk. You have different risk factors. You may not be able to get approved. Um, some of the down payment assistance programs that are national do not participate in purchasing multifamily. Some do. The most I've seen is someone being able to purchase a duplex. Um, with the National Down Payment Assistance Program, some municipality bonds will let you purchase a 1 to 4 family. It just all depends. But again, you have to qualify. You've got to qualify for the program. You got to qualify income wise. The property has to qualify, like has to be within a specific city or county or town. So there's so many different factors that go into the down payment assistance program. Um, what is my opinion on it? If it works for you, do it. If it fits inside of what you're looking to do and the goal or the overall plan of what you're looking to do, definitely participate in it. What I will say is those programs don't seem as advertised. A lot of times you'll see stuff online, you'll hear someone talking about them, but like there's so many different layers into it. So you need to make sure that you're going to participate. And you may call me for one down payment assistance program that just doesn't work for you because of income, credit, but then there's additional options. And then there's been times where we were going with the down payment assistance program and we were able to get out of it because all of a sudden you could come up with your own down payment and the seller was willing to pay closing costs. So there's a ton of different factors that could potentially help you get into a home. We've got about 12 minutes left. If you guys want to talk about or ask questions pertaining to home ownership in general, drop them in the comments below. I got a question. It says, are there waiting lists for these programs? For the National Down Payment Assistance Program, there's not typically any waiting list for the programs. With the bond and municipality programs, there typically aren't waiting lists. Sometimes those programs run out of funding, but it just all depends. But it's what I have. There's no waiting list. There's no waiting list for people to get on. And Instagram, we will drop. Do me a favor. If you would like the list and you're looking at it on Instagram or Facebook, slide my DM and say list, and then we'll get the list out to you so you can see. But that's a great question. There is typically not, there's not a waiting list. Typically, most of those programs, just like any loan, they close within 30 days. Some programs have where we underwrite the loan first, and then we have to provide it to them, and they underwrite it. So then there's a lot of different levels to the programs, but no, there's no waiting list. Let me know out here in Facebook land, Instagram, or YouTube, wherever you're watching from. Do me a huge favor. If you're watching me on Instagram and you're not subscribe to my YouTube page, comment YouTube, and a link for YouTube will be sent to you. Also, if you're looking at Facebook, go to my YouTube page. It is Kevin Jefferson / The People's Lender, and subscribe to my channel. If you've got a question, drop the question below. Again, we've got the newsletter link will be below. a list for you to look at down payment assistance programs below. If you would like to schedule a call with me, that link will be below. When I will say, when you're scheduling a call with me, one thing I've ran into is people not having Zoom because sometimes they do it on their break, so they don't have Zoom on their phone. Go ahead and download Zoom on your phone. If you hadn't had Zoom on your laptop or whatever, you use an iPad, download Zoom. That way, when you schedule a call, we don't run into any problems with you logging in. Again, guys, this topic, if you're listening to the replay, we took an in-depth look at what down payment assistance programs was. I talked about the difference between a grant program, a bond program, a down payment assistance program, a first-time home buyers program. So you also, if you're moving to a different state, you want to make sure that you find out what the rule is and what you're considered to be a first-time home buyer. So I'll give you an example. If you move from, let's say, Georgia to Delaware, and you've owned a home in Georgia at any time, when you move to Delaware, even though you don't own that home, you're not considered a first-time home buyer. But if you owned the home in Delaware and you sold it, and that 3-year period has went by and you moved to Georgia, you're considered a first-time home buyer. So then you can participate in first-time home buyers programs, as well as down payment assistance programs. Most down payment assistance programs don't have the requirement that you have to be a first-time home buyer. You could be a second-time home buyer. I've seen one, there's not a lot. I've seen one at one time had a rule where you could own a home and participate in the down payment assistance program. The only difference was the first loan that the borrower had was a conventional loan, and then when they got the down payment assistance program, they went from they did an FHA loan, because you can't have two FHA loans at the same time if you're within 100 miles of each other. So that's something to take into consideration. Hey guys, also, if you on your Instagram and you find this information valuable, definitely send this out to somebody you think would be helpful. If you on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube and you think that this information was valuable, share it with someone. It doesn't cost you anything to share this live. It's free information, and I think it's helpful for anyone who's straddling the fence or looking to purchase a home at any time. You know, if you're looking to buy in 2024, I think this is going to be a very competitive market as interest rates begin to drop. So you also want to make sure you put yourself in position to be able to purchase a home. And I'm going to say this, and I always do. I would worry about getting in the home, because right now there's still a lack of housing. And as rates go down, as we've been seeing, competition begins to get heavier. Some of my agents that I'm talking to or seeing online are starting to see multiple offer situations. But you just want to be in position to be able to purchase. The best way to find out exactly what you need to do to qualify for a mortgage is to reach out to a lender and get a consultation to see where your credit score is, see where where you need to be at income wise, and just take a look at your total picture to see what you qualify for. I would, if you're renting and your lease agreement is up this year, I would not wait until they send you that 60-day letter saying, hey, we need to know if you're moving forward. I would do that in advance to make sure you have enough time to put yourself in position to be able to buy if you aren't in position to purchase. Also, right now, it's the beginning of the year, and if you're going to be getting back a tax refund check, I would definitely use that to save. I would save that money and not utilize it for cars, furniture, vacation, second Christmas. I would definitely use it to see what I need to do, to see if it can help me for a down payment, if it can help me for closing costs, or after you speak to the lender, those may be the funds that you use to pay down on your debt, so you do qualify. To see if you do qualify. So, right now is a good time for us to start looking. at what you need to do. The tax refund check comes back. You want to make sure you save it. You want to make sure in this time frame you don't bring on any new debt. You don't buy any cars. Please don't co-sign for anybody. Please don't co-sign for them. That family, your mama, your daddy, your auntie, sisters, whatever, just don't co-sign for them, because it's going to hinder your ability to purchase a home. If you had co-signed for them in the future and they're making payments on that and it's paid from an account that you're not directly tied to and they've been doing it for at least 12 months, there could be a way that we could get around using that car payment or personal loan or whatever type of payment it is into your debt to income ratio. But that's a conversation we need to have in our consultation, and we'll take a look at it as we go through and look at your file in terms of qualifying or getting pre-approved. Hey guys, if this has been helpful, again, comment below, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Instagram, guys, tell me how it look. I can't really tell from my side. I just see the names and people joining. So if you can tell me what it looks like, I definitely would appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions pertaining to down payment or housing, definitely drop a question below. And if no one has any further questions, we definitely can end the live. But if you want to reach out to me, all of my contact information will be below. Do me a huge favor. If you're with me on Instagram, but you don't know my YouTube, it is Kevin Jefferson / The People's Lender. Go subscribe to my channel. I think you'll find some valuable information. If you're looking at me in Facebook land and you're not on my YouTube or my Instagram, on Instagram, I'm The People's Lender. And on YouTube, I'm Kevin Jefferson / The People's Lender. If there aren't any further questions, God bless you and good night.